Hi guys, welcome back to Jesus in Mind podcast, and I'm really excited because I myself personally just finished Job, and so I'm going to start getting it wrapped up in the next couple videos. We're actually going to do 10 chapters today, and I am really excited that I can just get this, I don't know, I love this so much, and I just feel like maybe I might have been taking it a little too slow for you guys, so I hope that you guys can also get Job all finished up and you can enjoy it as much as I did. So as of right now, I'm going to go ahead and do a recap video to show you guys what we learned in the last video. But if you have not watched the other videos, I definitely recommend going back and watching those so you will understand what is happening. So yeah, welcome back to Jesus. Hi guys, this is going to be the recap video. And so pretty much to recap, Job's friends are still not believing him, that it's not his fault, and they're still placing judgment down on him. Zophar was the last one to speak. Hopefully I'm saying that right. I feel like I never say them right, but hopefully I am. And Zophar was the last one to speak, and so that's pretty much where we're at right now. They're still just going, it's kind of repetitive, so they're still just going on saying yeah, they don't believe him. They think he's wrong. They think he needs to repent, but obviously Job hasn't done anything wrong. So yeah, let's go on and get into it. Starting off, chapter 21. So chapter 21 starts off with Job is feeling very kind of betrayed by his friends. He feels like they aren't even listening to him at all because they just keep saying the same things. Like I said, it's repetitive. They just keep saying the same things over and over again. So that's pretty much what he's saying in verses 1 through 3, where he says, "Keep listening to my words and let this be your comfort." So that's what he's saying today. And right now, I don't know why I said today, like he's right here next to me. Sorry, but yeah, so he's pretty much just still mad at them. He doesn't understand why they can't just listen to him. So going on, verses 4 through 16. So 4 through 16, Job is saying that his point is a conflict with God. He doesn't have a conflict with God. He isn't doing anything wrong. His point is saying that he doesn't understand why God would do this to him since he hasn't done anything wrong. Now his friends look at him and accuse him. Job challenges them to see if the wicked man could still be blessed like he was. So he's pretty much trying to prove to them that he's not wicked. He's saying could a wicked man be blessed? That doesn't happen. So that's kind of where he's at right now, trying to convince them. Sorry guys, I am a little bit sick today, but hopefully I will live through this. So yeah, I'm very sorry if you hear me sniffling. So going on, verses 17 through 21, Job is answering a question that was implied. He is not satisfied with the judgment he's receiving. Job cried out to God to bring destruction upon his friends. So pretty much Job is just I'm done with you guys. You guys are not helping me at all. You guys are treating me like crap, and I'm done with you. So that's kind of where we're at right now. Job, he pretty much just cries out to God, God, if please show them, if not bring destruction upon them. So that's where we're at right now. Kind of a little bit rude, but yeah. So now we're going on to verses 22 through 26. Job is questioning the ways and wisdom of God because he's not bringing judgment upon the wicked man. So I'm going to stop there in between these two sentences. Job is pretty much questioning things right now. He's going through a hard time and he's questioning God. He's questioning it. He doesn't understand why God would be bringing judgment on him when he didn't do anything wrong. So why is he not bringing judgment upon his friends that actually are doing things wrong in Job's mind? So it's kind of an uncomfortable questioning of God. Job is uncomfortable questioning God right now because he knows it's wrong to question God. He's just very upset. So going on, verses 27 through 34, as Job is questioning God, he sees and looks of his friends. They were appalled. So pretty much as Job is questioning God, like he's crying out to God, questioning them, he kind of like looks up and like his friends are just like, like they're just shocked. They're shocked by the fact that Job is just like, it's like they think that Job has been this faithful servant, and then it's like Job is questioning God now. So like, wow, like something bad is happening. And pretty much like they're just really shocked right now. So they are appalled. Job is speaking against God right now, because to question God is to speak against him. To question God's wisdom and power is to speak against him. So that is the end of chapter 21, and we're going to go on. Chapter 22. So as we were right now, I'm just going to keep going through that because you should have just watched that. So going on, chapter 22, verses 1 through 3, Eliphaz heard all of Job's words to God. And he thinks he's kind of full of himself. So Eliphaz is kind of give you a little bit of a backstory. Eliphaz is the younger of them. So he has kind of kept his ground. He hasn't been saying anything. He didn't want to say anything because in their eyes, he's lesser than them because he's like younger. He doesn't have as much wisdom. But he's been listening to all the things Job and his friends have been saying this whole time. He's been there. And he's like kind of been like standing off to the side, you could say. And so Eliphaz, he's like, okay, I'm ready to speak. Like, I can convince Job of this. I've heard everything. So that's where we're at right now. So going on, verses 4 through 11, Eliphaz is pushing his point on Job. That the issue didn't come because Job was scared of God. It came because of his wickedness. So Eliphaz is pretty much saying the same thing as Job's three friends were. But he thinks he's saying it better, I guess. So verses 12 through 20, Eliphaz thinks that because Job will not admit his error, that he's just pretty much wrong. He thinks he's just wrong and not understanding God. He doesn't think that Job understands God at all. So Eliphaz is kind of being like saying the same things that Job's three friends were, but he's saying it a lot meaner. He's saying it like he knows better. He thinks he's pretty much just full of himself. So going on, verses 21 through 30. Sorry, I gotta flip my page. Okay, going on, verses 21 through 30. If Job's problem was in sin, then it would have been a great oh my gosh, I'm sorry. It would have been great advice if Job's problem was actually sin, but his problem is not sin, but his friends think it is. And Eliphaz thinks Job is agonizing with God instead of finding delight in him. So he pretty much thinks that Job is like a menace. He thinks that Job just doesn't understand him. He literally thinks like Job has no understanding of God, even though Job has been a faithful servant his whole life. Eliphaz pretty much is like, no, you don't know anything. Like, I'm better than you. I'm telling you what's right and how you need to fix yourself. So, and then beside this, before we finish off this chapter, I have a little question, and it said, or a little statement, more likely. You aren't always right. His friends need to learn that. So I kind of wrote this because it's something that I think we as people do often. Like, sometimes when we're like 100% sure we are right about something, we could be reading the whole question the wrong way. Like, we could be right in the way that we think the question is being asked, but we're wrong. So, like, I think we as people kind of need to remind ourselves that sometimes we're wrong, and we just need to understand that. So, you can't always do things like through God, if that makes sense. Like, you can do whatever you want through God, but you can't always blame things on God, if that makes sense. So, like, if I was to walk up to someone and say something really rude and be like, oh, sorry, God told me to say that. That's not how it works. Like, you can't do that. That's not what God wants you to do. So I think that's something some people just need to know. So that is the end of chapter 22. We're going on to chapter 23. Okay, chapter 23. So jumping right into it. Chapter 23 starts off, and I did verses 1 through 7. So starting off, verses 1 through 7. At the end of Eliphaz's speech, Job is feeling really desperate. With no help from his friends, there is no relief to him. And it was just making him feel worse. So pretty much Job's feeling absolutely kind of destroyed. He is really upset because his friends do not have his back at all. They're pretty much just putting him down worse, and he literally has nothing. And so he's pretty much just really down on himself right now. So going on, verses 8 through 12, Job just couldn't really find God right now. And he's like really struggling with it. No matter how hard he looked, he just couldn't find God. Job admits that he cannot find God. Job knows one day God will withdraw the challenge. So pretty much Job knows that God is challenging him right now, and he knows that one day God will let go of this challenge, and it's kind of his only hope right now is to hold on to that, like knowing that God will stop one day and he will be with him again. So verses 13 through 17, which is actually the end of this chapter, so that this chapter is pretty short. So verses 13 through 17, Job takes back what he said about having faith. Job knows God has power over him, but he also couldn't get God to do anything for him. So now Job is kind of coming back from that, and he's like, wait, I know I have faith. I have faith. But he was just struggling with the idea that knowing that God wasn't helping him at the time. So that's where we're at right now. Going on to chapter 24. Chapter 24. So starting off, verses 1 through 8, I have, if God knows everything, then why are his godly people kept in the dark? So that's kind of a question. And then it says, this is what is being discussed. So this is the question that's being discussed amongst like the friends and like kind of like Job and like everything. So like if God is so like knowing and all powerful, then why are his people, his servants, being kept in the dark? So that's kind of like deep thought that they're thinking right now. And going on, verses 9 through 12, if Job was really guilty of what Eliphaz accused him of, then he wouldn't be speaking so strongly against it here. So pretty much in verses 9 through 12, he's kind of like speaking against the idea of like going against God and like not believing in him. So that's why like it's kind of like, well, if Job really is being like he's really a sinful man, then why would he be speaking against this? So going on, verses 13 through 17, Job describes the kind of sin that happens under the cover of darkness. So that's kind of like the kind of sin that's like happening under the cover of darkness is kind of like what happens, like he's describing what would happen if like someone said, hey, I'm like just such a faithful person, but then they're committing bad sins behind closed doors, like no one actually knows about them. So then going on, verses 18 through 21, Job is wondering why God didn't judge the wicked as he should. Job gave God advice on how to judge them. So that's kind of like, like Job, you really think you can give God advice? No. So going on, verses 21 through 15, Job had to remind himself that God was not blind to sins, and soon enough, God would take care of it. So he kind of had to remind himself, like, okay, wait, taking back what I just said, God's not blind. God is seeing all the sins that these people are creating, and he will take care of it, and I trust in him. So that's the end of this chapter, and I thought it was really great. Question is, why isn't God telling them they're wrong? So it's kind of something to think about, like, wait, why isn't this happening? Which we will find out. Chapters 25 through 26, because chapter 25 is very short. So that's going to be both of these in this part. So chapter 25, 1 through 6, which is all that's in chapter 25, Bildad is just repeating himself and is just stating more controversial. Why did I have so much trouble with that? Okay, going on. He was pretty much kind of arguing with Job. And he said he cannot reflect the glory of God as they should. So pretty much he's saying Job can't do that. He can't reflect the glory of God. So he's pretty much just arguing with Job of what Job just said. So chapter 26, verses 1 through 2, This is the beginning of a big rant from Job. So this is like a warning. Okay, Job is about to get fired up. He's about to like get on these people's butts for that. Job is considering all of the wisdom of Bildad and his other friends. He wondered where and of it was supposed to help. Or where any of it, sorry. So he's pretty much like saying like, okay, if you guys are so wise and you're so smart, then how is this supposed to help me? Because it's not so wise and not helping me if you're so smart and amazing. So then verses 3 through 4, Job makes very bold statements to anyone else of his friends who have failed him. So he's like, all right, calling all of them out and pretty much going off on everyone. So then verses 5 through 13, Job is pretty much just distributing like the power of God with much enthusiasm. So he is like going off. He's like showing everyone the power of God with like he's excited right now. Like he's mad. He's blowing up. He's going off. So going on, verse 14, which is the end of this chapter, Job understands that this description of God can't fully describe God. So he understands that Job will never be able to fully describe God because he's human. He's flesh and bone. He can't do that because no one knows God as God. So that's kind of something to think about too, that I think like not very many people think about. So then also in between verses 13 through 14, I have, why does Job think his friends are no help? So obviously like Job thinks his friends are no help because they're not helping him. And that kind of is like proving like, okay, they're not helping him because he's not sinful. He's a good servant of God. And that's when his friends should have realized that. Going on to chapter 27. Chapter 27, verses 1 through 6. Job still doesn't think he has done anything against God or spoke against God. Here he is just pretty much like instating that he won't ever speak against God. So Job is kind of like, he's calming down a little bit and he's just like, I'm never going to speak against God. I will never say anything bad about God, and I'm a good servant, and I don't know why you guys can't see that. So going on, verses 4 through 10, Job is asking for the punishment of his friends that he thinks they need to fall to them. So he's asking God again, God, why don't you punish my friends? Like, they're doing wrong, and they're hurting me. Like, why can't you punish them? Like, punish them now. So let me flip my pages. Okay, verses 11 through 12, Job is very upset and frustrated at his friends for the lack of understanding him. They claim to know God but still judge Job. So pretty much he's still really upset with his friends. He's like, you guys act like you know God so well, but you're still judging me and I haven't done anything wrong. So going on, verses 13 through 23, Job is arguing strongly that judgment awaits the wicked man. This is an important argument for Job to make in front of his friends because Job is pretty much agreeing with his friends. So what Job is doing here is agreeing about everything his friends said that were right. He's just saying not right for him. So he's agreeing that judgment will come for a wicked man, like everything that they said before, like the wicked people seem to be like succeeding and then they fail, like everything that they have said before, he's agreeing with, except for it's not for him. So that is the end of chapter 27, going on to chapter 28. Going on, chapter 28, verses 1 through 4. Job considered the way people search for metals, gold, copper, and iron. Job explains like a man searching for those things, the way that they light up in the darkness. So that's like what we're comparing like the people to right now. Verses 5 through 11, Job continued to explain how hard men are willing to work to gain treasure and wealth on the earth. So he's continued to like understand, like he's explaining how hard the men work to get these metals and everything. Verses 12 through 19, Job finally gets his point. Men work and are willing to endure danger for the sake of the riches of the earth. But it is easy to be compared to the search of wisdom. So pretty much he's comparing it like to people searching for wisdom in their life. And he's comparing that to like people searching for wealth. So going on, verses 20 through 28, Job knew he needed this wisdom and that his friends definitely needed it. Job knows God understands wisdom. God shows us his wisdom by his design of the natural world. So this is where Job is getting to. Like, he knows that he needs wisdom. He knows his friends need wisdom. And that's what he's getting to in this part. So that is the end of chapter 28, going on to chapter 29. Chapter 29, verses 1 through 6. Job misses the days before he lost everything. He misses his children and his good health. He really misses the days when the burden he felt, when he misses the days he felt closer to God. Burden just came out of my mouth and I don't know why. But going on, pretty much Job right now is kind of thinking back on his past and he's like, I just really miss everything. Like, I miss feeling close to God. I miss the love I felt. I miss my friends. I miss my family. I miss my health. So going on, flip my page. Verses 7 through 17, Job remembered how greatly he was respected in the community. Job has not only gained the attention of everyone in the past days, they also liked him and what he did and how he had stayed. So pretty much Job is just still going back to the days he remembered and great when he was respected in the community, and now nobody respects him because they think that he's sinful. So going on, verses 18 through 20. In his early confidence, Job felt that he would die happy. You could tell Job was grateful for the good life he had had. So Job is kind of like, I'm so thankful for what you gave me, God, and like he's just really expressing how thankful he is for all these memories like he can miss. So going on, verses 21 through 25, Job is remembering of the how gratefully he was appreciated and respected. He has an honored man with wise words. So he was an honored man with wise words. So Job is still like going back and he's like, he remembers how greatly he was appreciated and he remembers all this. Like, he just really respects that God gave him all this and he misses it still. So that is the end of chapter 29 and going on to chapter 30. Chapter 30. So before we start this chapter, it is the end of this video. So don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you enjoyed this and turn on your notifications so you will get a notification when I post every day. Or not every day, every time I post. And I also have an Instagram and a TikTok, both under Jesus in Mind 00. So definitely go look at those because I do post things every day on my TikTok and I post things often on my Instagram. And I will also post on my Instagram when I post a new podcast. So if you want to kind of know that. And also if you want to dive even deeper into this or you just need to talk to someone, totally DM me. I will answer you. So yeah, going on to chapter 30. Verses 1 through 8. Job is tortured by the irony of everything. Job thought of what worthless men were, and now his loud critics. So now he's kind of like tortured by the fact that he was so respected, and now people are literally just like criticizing him. The people that loved him are like judging him now. So that's kind of like the irony of this all. So going on, verses 9 through 15. Job was now low in the eyes of these worthless men. Job mourned the agony of his present state of being despised by men. So he's still remembering that he's like, I was so respected by these people. I know that they're worthless men. Like, I shouldn't care. I should only care about God's judgment. But he's just like hurting in the fact that he knows people are judging him. So, page. Okay. Going on, verses 16 through 23, Job continues to describe the crisis he is going through right now. He's describing like the constant pains that never went away, but the worst crisis of the soul. So he's explaining like his physical pain, like it's never going away, like I'm in constant pain. And then he kind of gets into like his heart, like his soul is like in pain. It hurts, like it's going away, like his soul is like slipping away, like he is just like so down and sad and upset. So going on, verses 24 through 23, Job cries out to God. Job is wondering why God isn't answering his cries. So Job cries out to God one last time. Like he's like, God, why are you not answering me? I need you. Like, I don't understand why you're not answering me. So that is where we're going to stop today. That was the end of chapter 30. And I really hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope it helped you guys a lot. And I really hope that I was able to help you guys understand everything well. And thank you guys so much for watching. Once again, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. And I also would really love it if you guys reach out to me if you need any help and you need someone to talk to, you need a friend. I will be there. Don't forget to follow my Instagram and my TikTok. That would also be greatly appreciated. Thank you guys so much for watching. Bye!